Hi, this is Linda Weldon again, and I just wanted to share with you this time how God met my financial needs. It wasn't too long after that hospital stay with my one son that we decided, the kids and I decided to go off welfare. The kids were getting a little bit Social Security from their dad, so that kept us going for a little bit longer, but it was the scariest thing that we ever did because it was, you could always count on it, trust on it, and whatever. But I decided that I was going to apply for a grant and take a year-long business course. I was so excited about doing that because it would give me a good job when I got finished and everything, and I learned a valuable lesson about that the next years because God had a different plan for what I planned. Months into my studies, I began having floaters in one eye, and then it didn't go away, and really hard to study. The optometrist confirmed that I had a cataract that had to be removed. Talk about money concerns. I knew that I could go back on welfare, but the Lord kept reminding me, the just shall live by faith. And then 6 weeks after I had originally gone to the doctor for the cataract, and after the surgery, I went back in for a test, and he told me that I was getting cataract on my other eye, which had not been in the first place. I felt dark, sad, and hopeless. Well, then on top of that, added to that, I need new glasses. After you have cataract surgery, you have to have new glasses. But God provided that need too. It was about 2 years later that I had my second cataract surgery. And I was only working part-time, but God worked it out again. That was paid for. I was done with school and I began looking for a well-paying job. Absolutely nothing. I was so worried. Why? Why, God? What am I doing? How am I going to pay these bills? And it's just on and on. I was reading the newspaper about a lady that was looking for a companion to go to Colorado with her because she was going to go down and have surgery. And just for the fun of it, and the impulse, I called her. And then I met with her, never thinking, that she would choose me, to go with her. Besides that, I didn't even have anybody. I had no money. Where was I going to stay when I got there, But she was so nice. She made arrangements for me to stay with some of her friends down there in Colorado. So off I went with $25 in my pocket, not knowing that how I was even going to get back because she had no plan to come back. My thinking was that God was going to take me down to Denver and I was going to get a good paying job down there. I was going to get my son and we were going to move down there and we were going to live, just live there and everything. Didn't work out that way. That was a logical plan, right? That was my plan, not God's. But it's interesting, though, that when I got there, the lady that I was staying with, she knew a lady that needs somebody to clean house. So the very next day after I got to Denver, I went to this other lady's and cleaned house, and I earned, a good amount of money so I could bus around Denver looking for a job. That never transpired. Well, after being there about 2 weeks, I got a call from the lady that I went down there with saying she was going to come back to Bismarck and she wanted to know if I wanted to come back. So my thing was, I know now why God wanted me to come here. On the way home, I'm going to get killed. Get in a car accident and get killed. But I started looking through my verse and the Lord says, I will deliver you up alive. And I claimed that verse. I was soon returning to Bismarck with her, and shortly after I got to Bismarck, I applied for a job at UND Family Practice Center, and I worked there for 5.5 years part-time, 19 hours a week. And in that time, I also got a job delivering newspapers. So that kept us going. And even with that just job at part-time, sometime during that 5.5 years that I was there, God even worked it out and provided the way for me to make my first airplane flight, to my first ever airline ride to out east. I flew out to Boston, and my son picked me up in Boston. We went up to New Hampshire where he lived. It's funny because I had told somebody that I was going to have a mountaintop experience. And boy, not knowing sometimes what we say, it actually happens. Well, anyway, there's a mount out there, Mount White. Wade drove me up to the top of that mountain. So I did have a mountaintop experience.